Hi everyone, welcome back to Math 11. So I wanted to go over some of the homework questions that people ask me. So questions from section 2.3. So the first question is number 2, and this one says, Marcel says that it's impossible to draw a triangle with two right angles. Do you agree? Explain why or why not. So first of all, a right angle refers to an angle of 90 degrees. So can you have a triangle with two 90-degree angles? First of all, a triangle has to have three corners, three angles. If you have two 90-degree angles, let's say we have one line, we have to add another one. 90 degrees is going to be like this. If you had another line anywhere else at 90 degrees, these two lines would never actually meet. You're going to end up with two parallel lines like so. So as you can see here, this will never form a triangle, so this is impossible. So the answer would be yes, I agree. It's impossible. Oh, sorry. Question was, it is possible? So the answer would be no. It's not possible because, again, we end up with two lines which are parallel, which will never make a triangle. So, do I agree? No. It is impossible. Okay. Again, we're going to end up with open-sided shape like this if you just add three sides, right? So it's never going to make a triangle. Number 4, in this case, we have an isosceles triangle. We have these two sides are exactly the same. And the question says, if Q is known, so whatever the value is, doesn't matter what, write the expression for the measure of one of the other two angles. Now, this is an isosceles triangle, which means two sides are the same, which means that the angles here, angle R and angle S, or QRS and QSR, if you want to use 3 points, these are going to be exactly the same because in an isosceles triangle, these are going to be always the same. If that's the case, you're going to end up with two angles on the corners here, R and S, which are going to be equal. And knowing that the fact that if you add all three together, they have to add to 180, we can say the following. Let's say that we have angle Q plus the angle R plus the angle S, all of this equal to 180 degrees. So we can then say 180 minus Q is going to equal to the sum of R plus S. So we can do R plus S equal to 180 minus angle Q, right? So again, this is the sum of these two, which are exactly the same. So these two are going to be equal. So all we have to do next is, well, if R plus S equals 180 minus Q, then R or S is going to equal 180 minus Q divided by 2. So that's going to be the expression that this is asking us for. So we can say, for example, R equals to 180 minus Q, whatever the value is, we don't know, divided by 2. So this is going to equal to R, and this is also going to equal to S because they're going to be identical. So we can also write an S as well if you want. So S will equal to R, which will equal to, again, 180 minus Q divided by 2. So for example, if we know the value for Q, we can actually calculate the value for the angle R or angle S. So you would put this in the calculator in brackets divided by 2 after you do the subtraction. So the last question, this one says determine the measures of the angles AXZ, which is this angle right there, XYC, so that one there, and EZY. So EZY is going to be there. So these are known as the exterior angles of a triangle, right? Because if you extend the lines, you have the interior angles. So these are interior angles. And then the ones that you extend the line and you make basically a straight angle with the interior angle, you call these exterior angles. So that's why it says part B says determine the sum of these exterior angles. So in order to find them, we need to know all of the interior angles. So right now we have two of them. We're missing this guy. So we need to find that one first. Once we know all three interior angles, then we can find all three exterior angles. So the first step is to find the angle, let's say x, y, z. All right, so for part A, let's find this one first, x, y, z. So again, we're talking about the one with the question mark here, the interior angle. And we're going to say that this is going to equal 280, which again, we know that's the sum of the all interior angles of a triangle minus the two known angles, which is going to be the yxz, so the 35 minus the xzy. So that's the 50. Now we can plug in the numbers and say 180 minus 35 yxz and minus 50. So what does that leave us with? 95. All right, so we know our interior angle. This is going to be 95. Now we can find all of the exterior angles. So we can find angles, let's start with AXZ. And by the way, the justification for this part is that interior angles of a triangle add to 180 degrees. So basically they're supplementary. All the interior angles add to 180. Now we're going to use another supplementary relationship, which is basically straight angles, to relate the interior angle to the exterior. So we can say that the angle AXZ, okay, is going to equal 180 minus YXZ. Right? Because again, these are supplementary angles that will form from here to here. This is 180 degrees, right? So this is a straight angle, which is 180. So let's replace it with a number. So 180 minus YXZ, which is 35. This equals to 145. So we found one of them. Let's do the next one. X, Y, C. Again, the justification for all of these calculations is that these are supplementary. So X, Y, C is going to be 180 minus, let's see, X, Y, C. X, Y, C is here. So we need to know the one we just found in the first step, the angle that we called XYZ. All right, so let's replace it with the number that we found, which was 95. We find it to be 85. So that's the second one. Let's do the last one. The last one is EZY. EZY. And again, we have 180 minus. We're looking for this one here. What do we call this one? We call this XZY. XZY. And XZY is 50 degrees. So this is 130. All right. So we found all of the exterior angles, 145, 185, 130. So again, justification for all of these, the angles are supplementary. Or I should even say straight angles, not just Okay, so straight angles are supplementary. So that's our part A. We found all of the exterior angles. Part B says determine the sum of these three exterior angles. So that's one of the properties of exterior angles in the triangle. So let's take a look what that's going to add to. So we're going to take all these three angles, the angle AXZ plus the angle XYC plus EZ and Y. And add it all together, replace it with the numbers that we found. So we have 145, let's see, plus 85, plus 130, okay? And this adds up to 360, which again is a property of the exterior angles of a triangle. So all of the interior angles add to 180 degrees. The exterior angles add to 360. Now again, you have to realize the exterior angles refers to these angles here that form 180 with each of the interior angles. Okay, do not get confused by exterior angles thinking this is that angle there. Okay, so these are the exterior angles of a triangle. So these angles add to 360 in any triangle. Okay, so those are all the questions that I've received so far. So if you have any other questions, make sure you post them in the comments. So again, we will have a quiz on the next two sections, 2.3 and 2.4.